The federal government has called for partnership with stakeholders in the climate space as they seek to meet United Nations Sustainable Development Goals targets. The Minister of State for Environment, Iziak Salako, made this known as he received a delegation of climate experts led by Oxfam. Salako, who restated the federal government's commitment towards checking the threat of climate change, says environmental issues has a connection with insecurity.
The most important attribute of any human being is good health. There is no replacement for it. Even if they say they are going to give you all the money in this world and take out your health, I don't think anybody will agree. So it is our number one after life itself. The next thing we want is to be in good health. So it's very, very important, extremely important. And being a public health physician myself, I know the impact that climate change has on health. Yesterday, I was just at an alliance that is promoting cook stove, improved cook stove. And one of the things we discussed there is the health effects of people cooking with firewood, with charcoal, And a former governor came there and gave us a testimony and said his mother was diagnosed of lung cancer. And he was wondering, this woman has never touched cigarettes. In fact, she runs away from anybody that smokes. Where will she get lung cancer from? So when I now told him that research has shown that if you cook morning, afternoon, and night with firewood, it's like you are smoking 20 sticks of cigarettes a day. And now he now said, yes. So the effect of climate change on health is very, very major. And I will be very happy to come on board with you, to join you in ensuring that we try to bring to the fore that particular angle of climate change. Quite a number of the security challenges that we are facing today, the solution is not totally military or security. The solution sometimes, and a lot of times actually, is environmental, climate issues. And therefore, when Mr. President made public his 8-point agenda, one of the key 8-point agenda was security. And the Minister of Environment was able to establish that we should be at the core of maintaining that security. Because if you go to around the Chad Basin, for example, without no livelihood, people will resort to crime. So, except you provide livelihood for people, whatever level, because just like you said, you cannot stop people from eating. Whatever level of security you put there, when people are not able to earn daily wages, it is a big issue beyond security.
Africans suffer more of the impact of climate change, and we have contributed little as less as 3% to the overall causes of this climate change over the years. So there was a need for us to recognize that the Africans need to be on the table when decisions are being made around climate change. Our interest also with women and youth, because they suffer more of the impact of climate change, but most times are neglected, even at decision making or decision where it matters. Women are not carried along, youth are not carried along. At the end, the future belongs to the youth. So what future are we leaving for them? These are all the questions we are trying to address now to make sure that they are on the board. And that is why in some of our engagements, we have young lawyers, for example, we call them climate justice lawyers. We brought them together, trained them in capacity so that they can even defend in their own space the rights of people.
Part of the conversation that has been happening globally is the fact that the health sector has been left behind in the climate change negotiations, including at the COP. And therefore, different stakeholders have been engaging in this conversation as well. So recently, in Lilongwe, Malawi, there was a workshop, a regional workshop and a conference where we had 26 countries in Africa coming up with an African common position on climate change and health, and appointed 2 ministers from the ministries of health to be ambassadors. But part of the conversation within the continent has been that we cannot have success if it's only the ministers of health who are having this conversation. So our request is also if you could accept to also be part of the champion ministers in terms of the African common position for climate change and health, and hopefully if you will be at COP, if you can also support to amplify politically that particular position, which came into the Nairobi Climate Summit, and there were 2 ministerial meetings that happened. But we strongly missed the voices of the ministers of environment in the Nairobi convening.